Welcome to the Nonprofit Voice, which is brought to you by Nonprofit Pro, the go-to resource for nonprofit management and strategy. In each episode, we'll sit down with nonprofit executives, consultants, and technology partners to learn more about the latest tactics, strategies, and trends in the nonprofit sector. As always, you can download all Nonprofit Voice episodes on Apple, Google, and Spotify. To be the first to know of new episode releases, follow us on social media and subscribe to our e-newsletter.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Mark Becker here, founding partner of Cathexis Partners, back for another edition. Looking forward to speaking with Max Friedman today about what's happening over at Givebutter. And if you haven't heard of them, you should have. They're doing some great stuff, and I believe they're going to be doing a lot more in the near future. So without any further ado, Max, would love you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Givebutter.
Thanks, Mark. It's great to be here with you in the audience. I am co-founder and CEO at Givebutter. We're a all-in-one end-to-end fundraising solution for nonprofits and a CRM platform. We work with 30,000 plus charities all across the country doing amazing work in their local communities, big and small. And it's been an awesome 8-year plus journey from crowdfunding to events to peer-to-peer and now building the donor management, email, text, letter sending solution, really trying to be an all-in-one operating system, so to speak, for nonprofits to have an even greater impact, give them their time back, and make their lives a little bit easier and a little bit more fun.
And I can speak from personal experience that it's super easy to sign up and use as a nonprofit because I volunteer for a local organization here in Central Florida. And I went to donate to them as I have done for the last few years. And I got sick of getting to their PayPal form. And I'm like, oh, I have to volunteer for these people, if nothing else, just to get them off of their PayPal donation form. PayPal should be a payment option. It should not be a platform. So
Yes.
I got with them and was able to easily talk them into giving Givebutter a test drive, and they've been using it now for a few years. Not all the functionality, but doing the auctions here and there, but all their general donations and recurring donations are going through it. They're very happy they made the move, and I'm very happy I can donate without any roadblocks now on an annual basis.
That's awesome. Well, I didn't know you were going to say any of that, but I did know that you had made or help that org make the switch, and we're thrilled to be able to work with them, and that's exactly what we aim to do. It's just make it easy to improve significantly whatever it is you're trying to do. And oftentimes we'll work with folks on just a specific use case. We want to modernize our in-person events, and we have text to give solutions and live display solutions for that. And we'll start there or an auction. And over time, we hope that we can earn more and more opportunity, because I think having everything in one place, there's so many options out there for nonprofits to elevate their operations, and it's overwhelming. And so I hope that Givebutter can be a resource to empower that change maker to do more with less. That's
Yeah.
why we exist.
And just the barrier to entry is just non-existent because you just sign up and you're off and running. There's no contract. There's no. I just respect that approach so much, because 3-year contracts don't do anybody any good, right? It's going to find somebody in that's not happy. And usually you're not going to change your CRM or fundraising platform or email marketing on a regular basis if you're happy anyways. So why lock in people? So I just really respect your approach.
Definitely. I think there's benefit to having a stake in the matter, but a multi-year contracts benefit one side and one side only in that situation. I think it's good to have some buy-in, some skin in the game I think it's motivating, and it's not just, that's one of the things that we think about as a free platform is how do we, we want folks to have skin in the game. We want it to be important and have buy-in. And so we think about like board buy-in, executive buy-in as something that we, try to encourage different ways of doing that. But yeah, multi-year contracts and some of the lock. We recently were migrating someone to Givebutter who was telling us the company they were leaving was charging them a fee to leave to migrate their data out, and that's just tough to hear.
Yeah, that's gross. Yeah, that's not. It's their data, and they should have the right to it whenever they need it. But yeah, I saw the announcement that you recently got the 50 million round funding. tell us a little bit about that, and how that's, how you got, what kind of plans you have moving forward with the roadmap.
Yeah, we're really excited to have this partner in Bessemer, who's backed iconic companies like Shopify and Toast and LinkedIn and Yelp, um, as a partner to Givebutter, as they see that we could have a similar potential to define our industry category and build a modern software company for nonprofits. And so the investment, what was so exciting about it was a couple of things. One, it was a investment in the nonprofit community, in change makers generally. And what that will look like for us is very heavily developing our product, furthering our mission, our vision, our values, a lot of the same stuff that got us to where we are. They said, hey, they saw what we were doing and they said, we want you to keep doing that at an even bigger scale and put that. And as a company, we are product led, customer first, people centric, and that will only continue with more resources at our disposal. And so much of our strategy is build a great product that people love, they want to share it with others. And when they do that, it helps bring our costs down so we can continue to feed our money towards the product, not a bunch of sales and marketing, although we are excited to continue to grow awareness of what we do and bring more people into the Givebutter fold. So, that's an exciting part of it. The other thing that we're really excited about, we bootstrapped for many years of Givebutter's history, meaning we did not raise any money for the first 5 years of the company. And we very intentionally chose to raise at a point when we were profitable. And then we did that again with this funding round, this $50 million round. And this backer in BBP Forge has that emphasis. They focus on making investments in sustainable, fast-growing software businesses, and so or in businesses like Givebutter. And so we were able to find someone that wasn't looking to just burn cash and put everything into a what you often see in the cycle of, if everything doesn't work out perfectly, we're now laying a bunch of people off, and we're aggressively going to market, and that's not the approach. It's how do we make sustainable bets that we see a payback on, that we believe are customer first, people centric, just like we've always been. And that's really exciting for us. And it was a big priority when we decided to find a partner that aligned with our history, but just doing it at a bigger scale.
I like it. Hearing so much is going to be going towards the roadmap, but to your point, also making sure that you are kind of boosting your taking your marketing and exposure to the next level, right? Because I go to all these conferences and I don't see Givebutter there, and I look forward to that potentially changing. And I went to AFPICon up in Toronto earlier this year, and there was a couple of new CRM vendors I won't name that actually were big, huge booths. And then I started talking to them because I'd never heard of them. And I pretty much know all the CRM vendors in the nonprofit space. Who are these people? And it turns out they were just spending all this money and had some clients in beta and didn't really have any. But you've done the work. You've got the years in, and and your team is great. They're awesome to work with, and I hear great things, not just my own experiences and the place I volunteer for, but also just other clients that really are very pleased. And it's like, okay, now you've got the track record, and I'd love to see what kind of reaction you get when you do make it out to those kind of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we started off in college campuses. That was where we got our initial roots planted. And over time, as we graduated and our first customers graduated and worked at nonprofits and were fundraising for nonprofits, more and more nonprofits became our primary customer segment. And a lot of our growth happened during COVID, and events weren't happening, the industry events weren't happening. And obviously now they're back and they're booming. But the other piece of it is that we work with tons of small nonprofits, medium-sized and large nonprofits. And we've taken, we're the title sponsors for a couple of virtual conferences. And so folks who can tune in from anywhere and experience that may be more familiar with Givebutter than those in-person industry event attendees, but we're excited nothing beats real life, right? Like being in person and breaking bread and sharing stories and experiences. So we're excited to do more of that going forward, and and get to meet more customers and partners in person and share more about what we're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were just talking about your client base, and, definitely see you, I think of, small to mid and space being kind of the sweet spot, right? Sized organizations, but you said you also kind of go into the larger size organizations depending on what their requirements are, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Tell us
that's
more
right.
about that.
So yeah, going into the fundraising round, we did a TAM analysis, total addressable market. We segmented the market. We looked at our customer base and what size org they were relative to the number of nonprofits that exist. People generally, it's somewhere between like 1.6, 1.8 million nonprofits in the United States. And then we segmented it. So we looked at how many nonprofits do we have that are in the 0 to 1 gross receipt revenue segment, 1 to 10, 10 to 10 plus. Just for easy numbers. And we were super surprised to see we actually have about 1% of the market in each of those segments, small, medium, and large. However, they look different. So they're not all using Givebutter for the same sets of things, and their priorities are different. However, in terms of adoption, customers raising money on the platform, we see pretty even distribution. Now, obviously, the market is very much skewed towards the long tail. There are over 1 million nonprofits with budgets under 1 million. And so, that is a higher concentration of our customer base. However, it was cool to see that we still have hundreds of customers who are in that 10 million and up segment who are very large and have more advanced needs and are having success with the Givebutter platform. However, we're still, what we've always kind of thought of ourselves as this bottom up, easy to adopt, great for smaller to mid-sized organizations, but it's been cool to see more and more larger organizations in different segments of the market also benefit from different aspects of what we have to offer, whether it's Venmo donations or auctions or the live display I was saying earlier, some peer-to-peer campaigns. There's different things that or different organizations can benefit from, and over time, our hope is to be able to bring all their fundraising efforts into one place, which we're seeing more and more nonprofits do.
Yeah, and I see, there's obviously several different kind of all-in-one stack CRMs and platforms, suite of tools out there. What I see is, kind of separating you is compared to some of them at the higher end of the stack or even mid, you can basically open up the box and it's ready to roll, right? You do a couple of quick tutorials and you're off to the races. Very easy to set up and understand. It's very intuitive. That's one of the things that I see as setting you apart. But what do you see as kind of what distinguishes you from the others out there?
Yeah, ease of use is something that shows up in almost every review that we read when we do analysis on what people are loving about the platform. And that kind of manifests itself in a few places. So pricing, easy to adopt because it's free to use, and we've reduced that barrier to entry. We monetize through transparent fees and tips that donors can see and cover. We're very clear about that up front, but that barrier to adoption is very low, makes it easy. It's all in one. So that ease of having everything in one place is something that more and more nonprofits are loving, that the same place where I'm running my auction and collecting recurring donations on my website and doing different campaigns throughout the year. All that flows into my CRM, my donor management system, where I'm nurturing that relationship. I'm also sending texts and emails to those supporters and doing my direct mail campaigns. And so the ease of having all of those things integrated in one platform, it's something that some nonprofits are using different tools for. It's burdensome to integrate that data, or there's so many options that the friction of even getting started is so overwhelming of how do I actually do that is something that we see a lot is we're reducing that barrier to having everything in one place. And then something that we've always done is we've just been cutting edge. So, we were the first to launch a Venmo integration back in 2017. Now, a lot of nonprofit fundraising platforms have caught up and are offering Venmo fundraising integrations, but we're thinking 3 years ahead. And later this year, we're launching workflows and tasks and AI assistant and automations into the platform to speed up your workflows even more. And we hope that we just continue to be 2-3 years ahead, thinking about the future, constantly shipping updates and letting every nonprofit who's on the Givebutter platform benefit from that product-led approach to growth that we have. And I think that over time, that innovation, that forward-looking element to Givebutter is what really sets us apart. Although the ease of use is what I think really people at the end of the day, when they're like, what does Givebutter do for me? Well, it makes my life easier. I feel better. I'm less burnt out. I mean, burnout and turnover is so high in nonprofits. And I think that we really hope to bring not just ease, but a levity to all of this difficult work that non-profiteers are assigned with doing. And so much of what the name is about and the brand is just making it a little bit more fun. Like, this is a really awesome place that we all get to work in the nonprofit world. And how do we just have fun while we do that too? Not just focus on the dollars and cents.
I like it. So while you're offering up a full stack of options, you also have that integration, making it open. So if someone has a favorite point solution for something, you have an integration, or they can get there by Zapier or whatever different means, right?
Yep. Yeah, we try to lean into an open and integrated ecosystem. We have a free API. Some companies will charge for API access so developers can integrate tools. Ours is public and free. You can see it on our website. You can use Zapier, integrate with different tools, whether it's just a simple Google form and getting that data in or out, or it's a spreadsheet or something more advanced. We try to make it easy to do that data integration, and we have tons of customers using enterprise CRMs in conjunction with Givebutter and others that benefit from the all-in-one and just having everything be in one place.
And I totally respect that approach, because that just shows that you're not afraid of competition. You're not afraid. You help out everybody, right? All boats rise, right? So make it available. Hopefully they fall in love with the app. And if it's not perfect, then or if it's not exactly what they're using, then you can integrate with it.
Yeah, radical transparency, doing right by customers, putting people first, like those are core values of our company. And we really try to lean into that across everything that we do, from pricing to product and I think it's just the right way to do business. It's the same way you'd want to work with your, local,
For sure.
Folks coming to your house to do work, or other service people in your life. Like, this is a software business, but it doesn't mean people are still the core of it. And so we value the relationship tremendously. And I do think that there's things you can do in competition. I love sports. I love to compete. One of my, I love board game, any kind of game. I just love games. And in many ways, startups are like a game. It's like, how do we win the game? But I also think that you can lose sight of why we're all here. And I think there's certain ways to go about that still is respectful. And ultimately, like, it's about the customer, and that's sort of the most important thing to think about at the end of the day. And but competition, I also makes you better, so I love it.
Exactly.
It's a great thing.
I like it. What are the trends and major trends and opportunities that you're seeing in this space?
Yeah, well, I think we thought a lot. Trends. Just thinking trendy, the first thing that popped in my mind was there was the crypto wave. I don't even know, 2 years ago, I suppose. And we actually resisted it. We saw it, but so many of our customers were saying, well, I feel like, how do I accept crypto? And I was like, has anyone asked to donate in crypto? Has a single one of your donors come to you and said, I'd like to donate in crypto? And many times the answer was no. It was just they were hearing about it all the time in the news. And it wasn't, I'm not saying this is true for every nonprofit. And I think larger nonprofits, there's a role to play. And maybe there is a crypto billionaire out there who wants to make a big crypto donation to you, and they need a way to be able to do it. Maybe. And I'm sure it's happened. But for many of our customers, it was just taking up a lot of their headspace. And so we've always tried to be careful about the latest trend, but then what's the practical application of it, and how do we make it useful? And so I think there are really interesting applications of AI that we're exploring. And we think the AI assistant approach, something that enables you, kind of like ChatGPT does, and having that be embedded in your tools, is really cool. We've seen a couple companies take an AI first approach to data. I think that's hard because AI is one of those things that it reverses the way you think about a question. Like, you have Google, you put it in a search query, and then you get responses back. But if you're in a tool and it's almost like, well, what do I ask you? What do I do? How do I take advantage of this? And so we're trying to be proactive about prompting people towards things that make their lives easier. And when you have an AI assistant, someone who can proactively suggest ways to make their life easier, I think there's some interesting applications of that, just in taking your unstructured data or your workflows that you're likely doing anyway, and speeding them up, and thinking for you, thinking a few steps ahead. And so I really like that, and I think that's an important, interesting trend. But I don't see it as like I don't know. Some people, I think, they take over the world and everything looks different yet. I don't think we've quite figured out what that looks like. And I do think at the end of the day, again, it comes back to the people helping people, and sometimes it's about tech getting out of the way, not in the way. And I think that some of this stuff can have a tendency to do that.
For sure.
Yeah. One of the other trends that I've just seen in the market, and it's kind of in a negative way, but I think it's an opportunity, is just the amount of consolidation that's happened. Constantly, I feel like you're hearing about companies merging and getting acquired, and I've seen this time and time again in our sector. It's just like innovation slowing down as a result of it, because oftentimes the reason for the acquisition is benefiting the shareholders and cutting costs and the synergy of it, and not about what's best for the customer. And so that's very much like, I think, an opportunity for companies who focus on building products that are customer centric and product led. And when they acquire a company, it's like, is this adding an innovation? You look at that and you say, is this a step forward in innovating for the customer, or is it just something that already existed and you're just sort of saying, logos. Okay, clearly, grabbing logos and putting together, combining sales teams and stuff like that. I think that's where it's a trend I'm seeing that I don't think is great for customers generally, but we hope to see that improve.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's been great seeing you, kind of grow the whole thing over the last several years, and look forward to seeing what's next. And any other final thoughts before we leave it today?
No, thank you, Mark. I mean, you've been a great friend and partner of Givebutter for a long time, and I just appreciate you and people like you who've trusted us with your missions. And we are excited to continue to innovate and push the sector forward and try to make products that people love and just want to shout it from the rooftops. I always say, you go to I've been to a few industry events that I just hear Canva, Canva, Canva all the time. Nonprofits love Canva. I always say, how do we build a product as loved as Canva?
That's right.
So we aspire to do that, and I just appreciate your time and the opportunity to share a little bit more about what we're up to.
Well, it's great catching up with you, and thanks everybody for listening in, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for listening. Listen to more episodes at nonprofitpro.com, as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify.